Welcome back to my channel, fellow gardeners. Today I want to talk about repotting, and we've done an episode on repotting, so it's good for you to actually have a look at that because it gives you all the tips and why you should be repotting your plant. Today I'm looking at my Strelitzia, also known as a bird of paradise. This is a miniature version and I had been given it. Now the thing is that it had been in a pot, and basically look at those tubers, and so I decided let's repot it together and we'll talk through it. So my name is Alice and I'm the Red Soil Gardener. So now when we're looking at a Strelitzia, or a bird of paradise, actually it's native to South Africa. And the thing about why they call it the bird of paradise is, as I mentioned earlier, it does look like a crested crane. And we have crested cranes in Kenya, and especially in the swamps. You can actually, some mornings, you see it wandering around, but it does resemble the flower. Now, I had been given this plant and it was just sitting in a pot and I just forgot about it. And then suddenly I realized that the plant, although it is a miniature version, is basically, let me have a look at the roots and then I can do a channel or an episode on it. And I suddenly realized that I'm completely root bound. And also some of these tubers, which I never realized that it did have tubers, some of them really look like they've had its day. So I decided what I'm going to do is actually divide it and rejuvenate it. So we're going to do it together. And it's the first time for myself, but I think we know the program. So when I did uproot it from its pot, I realized it does have a lot of tubers, which I never realized that it actually had. Now the thing is about these tubers is I suddenly realized it does need to be repotted because some of them are actually old and actually decaying. So my whole idea is to actually separate this plant, get rid of all those damaged tubers and roots, and repot it. And once I've repotted it, it can rejuvenate again. Now what we need for this exercise is a sharp sterilized knife. And when we do split this bird of paradise, we have to make sure that we do keep the tubers, the rooting, because then it can actually carry on again. So basically, let's look at the rooting structure first, and then we see what to do because we need to clean this. So if I look in here, and these are the tubers, I see that this one here has been broken. I'm going to just take that knife and snip it. This one again, it's rotting and we don't want that. So I'm going to snip that. And I'm going to snip here. It's like actually tidying it up. This looks like this bit, look at that. It's old, so I'm just going to snip it there. And let's turn it around. Again, this looks rather healthy, but this is broken there. So I'm going to snip it here. And I'm going to snip there. And, oh dear, so I'm going to snip it there. So what I'm doing here is actually snipping my tuber because basically some of these tubers have seen better days, and actually if it's old and it's not functioning, there's really no use to have it here, because in the end, as it rots there, it may actually take the whole plant down with it. So I'm going to just quickly turn it around and just remove these. So what we've done now is we've actually removed a lot of discolored tubers, old decaying ones, things that actually look really unhealthy. All this I'm just going to remove, and then I think we can work with this one. So basically, let me just get rid of this so we have space. I'll just throw it here. So now we're going to divide it. So if I look at the plant, I think what we'll need to do is I'm just going to go right here in the middle, and I'm just going to go in here, just like that. Okay. There we go. So what I've done, oh dear, what I've done is, here's my lovely bird of paradise. I have actually divided it into two. There's one batch with two of them. This is one plant. And then I have this one, which is just a single plant. And both of them have rooting. So this is what I'm going to propagate. So here is a pot, and I'm going to plant this one in here. And so basically I'm going to make my little hole here, position it in here like this. And then what I'll do is I'm going to pour the soil on top, and I'm going to try to go slightly a bit lower, because sometimes with these bird of paradise, when it does get root bound and it starts popping up, so I'm going to just give it enough space to actually maybe an inch below the pot. So what I'm going to do now is take the soil, and it's a well-draining soil with a lot of pumice and a bit of manure in it. And I am going to start like this. Okay. And then I'm going to add some more. Here. Because once you do add your soil, and once you do water it, the soil will actually sink down a bit. So I'm just going to really cover it nicely, and then we wait. Now, because I had cut the tubers, and all those tubers we got rid of, is basically I am not going to water this plant because the soil is dry. I'm going to allow those tubers that we had snipped, which are under the soil, to actually callus, because we did do quite a bit of cutting of those tubers. So that's one plant. Now what I'm doing now is the last bird of paradise. What I'm going to do is put it into this one. I might even have to snip these a bit more so we get a good... I'm going to fit it in here, and it'll look... And I think the pot is big enough for it. So I'm going to take the soil and cover it. Oops. I'm just making sure that everything up to the crown is under soil, like that. And we know that once we do water, is the soil will slightly go down, but it's just to make sure that up to the crown, like that, is covered. just up to crown level, and the crown is here. So there you go. So fellow gardeners, so those are my 2 bird of paradise. I've repotted it. Make sure that when you do repot is that you clean it up, clean all the discolored tubers or roots, and any place that looks like it's rotting, which we've seen. And then make sure that when you do divide it, that you do keep the rooting and the tubers. And once you've done that, when you've potted, make sure you don't water the plant and let the tuber actually callus in the soil, because there's no water there, so it will callus. And then after that, you can actually water the plant. So out of 1 plant, I've actually managed to get 2. And if I wanted, I could have divided this one further and got 3 bird of paradises. But I think this is okay, as I see there is a shooting coming out, and there is a shooting coming out. And I'm looking forward to my beautiful bird of paradise flower, the crane flower. And so thank you very much. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Don't forget to like, to share, press that notification button so you're always informed. We usually upload our videos on Thursdays. Don't forget to also inform your friends about the Red Soil Gardener channel. I do like to have fun in this channel. And thank you so much for your lovely comments. And I am on Instagram, I am on Facebook, and I am on YouTube. So do send your comments. I always do try to answer. And happy gardening, and do plant these plants. I'm looking forward to my flowers, and we will update you as we go along, and the success of my birds of paradise. So have a lovely day and happy summer. Bye.